Might as well be doing that like do re mi.
High school
boy.
musical. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Vajayjays podcast. Today we're going to be talking about our Myers Briggs 16 personality types. So basically, there are 5 different elements to the Myers Briggs personality. It's mind, energy, nature, tactics, and your identity. So it kind of like gives you a category of, are you introverted or extroverted? Are you intuitive or observant? Are you more of a thinker or a feeler? Or are you more judging or prospecting? And are you more assertive or turbulent?
I am a campaigner, ENFPT, and this is someone with extroverted, intuitive, feeling, and prospecting personality traits. These people tend to embrace big ideas and actions that reflect their sense of hope and goodwill towards others. Their vibrant energy can flow in many directions.
I'm a protagonist, ENFJT. A protagonist is a person with the extroverted, intuitive, feeling, and judging personality traits. These warm, forthright types love helping others, and they tend to have strong ideas and values. They back their perspective with the creative energy to achieve their goals.
Okay, I'm also a protagonist, and my letters are ENFJA.
I'm a mediator, and I am an INFP, and I'm someone who possesses the introverted, intuitive feeling, and perspective personality traits. And these rare personality types tend to be quiet, open-minded, and imaginative, and they apply a caring and creative approach to everything they do.
What surprised you guys about your personality type results, and then what didn't surprise you?
I'm surprised that it said teacher, and here I am, a teacher. I don't know, I just kind of feel like my mind wanted my life to go away from being a teacher. But even as much as I fought it, like 1000% fought it, even in my like schooling and all of the above, it just led me here.
And it says coaches, and you coach.
I know. All of the above, right? Just my whole life.
I think what surprised me is that same like paragraph we were talking about with the teacher stuff, because I feel like I'm not a leader. So like I don't have those jobs. Yeah, I taught before, but it's like I don't feel like I'm very into like these leading roles.
But I think you reach out and inspire people, so you don't necessarily have to have that same label as like a leader or a teacher, right? Like in that sense. But leaders and teachers, essentially inspire and help them to achieve things, right?
Honestly, there wasn't really anything about my results that really surprised me. It was pretty much spot on. They even really got like my career thing down. Yeah, and I just like was kind of like amazed by that, because I'd never really like had read how I feel like in words, but it's more like we don't really care what we do for a job. Like we can find meaning out of like anything. And I kind of thought that that was like really encouraging, because I think I meet a lot of people and they say like, you don't like, I don't seem like an accountant, and I really don't. Even like with other accountants, like they don't get why I'm where I'm at. But like I think it's like really weird to explain that like I do find like meaningful, like a sense of like meaning out of something so boring. And yeah, that's pretty much indicative of like what am I? INFP. So yeah, I pretty much agree with it.
Your work is not boring. Stop calling it boring. Don't let other people's perceptions put your career down.
Okay, wait, did you guys watch Soul, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. You know, the accountant in there is like such a stickler. Like, let me find this one. It can get boring sometimes. It gets really like repetitive. But yeah, there's creativity in it. So it's like, it's fun if you have that like filter on it. But most people, it's boring.
As long as you find it fun, it doesn't matter. So you can find your own joy and can like enjoy the stuff that you do. I actually took the test like a couple years ago, and I'm surprised that a lot of the stuff hasn't like really changed, because I feel like given like this year right now, I feel like I'm being more introverted than extroverted, honestly, and I thought I would be more observant versus intuitive, because I don't like, I like to see things before I take action on it versus like, oh, I'll instinctively do it, right? So I feel like when I retook this test, I was like, it's actually interesting. So I feel like it honestly will always constantly change. And I think that's actually really cool, is that, you know, taking it maybe like 5 years ago and taking it now, you'll see there's like a lot of differences on which you get. Because when I took it a couple years ago, I was protagonist and now I'm campaigner. So different things.
What
Some
didn't
cool
surprise
stuff.
you guys?
I've been a natural leader just my whole life. You know, that was that kid that wanted everybody to play with me on the playground. So I was like, we're all gonna play this game, and these are the rules, and this is how we're gonna play. And if you don't stick to the rules, then you can't play. Like I was that kid. Um, and we'd make everything a competition. Like even if it was just like monkey bars, like oh, who can jump to the furthest bar. And I took that like so far to where I slipped off the monkey bars and I broke my wrist. So in the first grade, I had a cast and a broken wrist. I also found it super surprising that, I mean, we joke that I'm super sensitive, but to like actually read it on paper, like it kind of like it, you know, like just like right there. Because I know I'm sensitive and like I know sometimes like I might take some things wrong, but I also know I have like another side to me where I'm like, nah, like that doesn't bother me. Um, so like to read it and like actually see that like I'm actually too sensitive, it kind of hurts.
I am not surprised when they say that like we believe in someone so much sometimes that we become too involved in their personal problems and put too much trust in them, because I think I do that sometimes, and we get caught up in like people's emotions and their problems, and then we start wondering if it's in ourselves and we have to fix that. I definitely do that.
It's okay, girl, you're learning, growing.
We don't have the same Myers Briggs type, but I'm like, I deeply feel that too. It's okay.
Is this supposed to be something along like people pleasing?
It's just saying that like, okay, here, it says we're vulnerable to, oh wait, we have a tremendous capacity for reflecting on and analyzing our own feelings, but if we get too caught up in another person's plight, they can sort of develop an emotional hypochondria, seeing other people's problems in themselves, trying to fix something in themselves that isn't wrong. Like I start to, if someone tells me their problems, I start to wonder if I do that too, and then I'm like, oh, I need to fix it, but then it wasn't a problem to start with. That makes sense.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay. I think the thing that didn't surprise me the most is the list. Well, I'm not going to go into it now because we're going to talk about it later. Is like the strengths and weaknesses. I read through them and I was like, these are actually very spot on about like things that I think I'm very good at, and also things that I'm awful at and probably shouldn't put into more practice. But we'll get into that later.
I think the thing that didn't surprise me the most is the being self-critical. Like I always knew I was like super like kind of like similar to what Catherine was saying, that like, oh, did I do that? Like, is there something wrong with me? Um, yeah, it says on the website that when my personality type is self-critical, they may accuse themselves of being selfish or woefully inadequate. And I was like, oof, that doesn't surprise me.
What did the test tell you about your strengths and weaknesses?
So for my personality type, we are thoughtful, generous, open-minded, creative, and passionate. We're also loyal to our values. I think that one's pretty much spot on, really.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it says open-minded, but I don't actually feel that I'm as open-minded as I would like to be. Maybe that's just the critic in me thinking that I should be more open-minded, but yeah, there's that. And then it says that we're generous. I don't know. I think we've talked about this before. I don't feel generous, even though like you guys say that I am, but like the feeling versus reality is like off with me. And then for weaknesses, we are overly idealistic, self-critical, impractical, emotionally driven, and conflict averse, and also difficult to get to know. I thought that was interesting though. It's because I thought it's easy to know who I am because I'll tell you. I'll tell you what I'm thinking. Like it's kind of hard for me to like figure out other people because I feel like more people tend to have more walls than I do. I think at first glance.
Wait, the last one said that you're difficult to get along with, or
No, difficult to get to know.
when you got liquid courage in you, you was like, everyone's my best friend. So
Yeah.
that's a different story. But I feel like I don't know, like I feel like you're very outgoing. So when you want to be, you'll push yourself to do that. But otherwise, like I don't know, I don't really agree with that one. But everything else for your strengths are pretty spot on. Those are very spot on. All right, for my campaigner, for my strengths, I am curious, observant, energetic, and enthusiastic, excellent communicator. I know how to relax, very popular and friendly. I gotta say through this list, I don't think I'm that great of an excellent communicator. I think it depends on how strongly I feel about it. If I feel like it needs to be discussed, like 1,000 out of 10, then I'm going to discuss it. But otherwise, if I think it's something I should just bite my tongue on, that's what I'll do.
But that's what makes you a great communicator, because you know when to speak and when not to speak.
Yeah. Pick your
And if it's
battles.
something, and if it's something that's like super pressing on you, you would speak about it, versus like maybe me or somebody else might not, talk about the issues, might just brush it under the rug and say, you know what, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. All right. And some of my weaknesses are I have a poor practical skills. I find it difficult to focus. Yes. I overthink things, get stressed easily, highly emotional, independent to a fault. Actually, I think that's very true for my weaknesses, because I don't like to depend on people. I would rather do it myself and just rely on myself solely, which is not very good being in a relationship, because I just like to do things on my own, or like I don't think about it. I'm just like, yeah, just whatever, because I'm just used to it. So like everyone, I know you guys have told me to, you guys like, you should learn to depend on others. It's very hard. I don't know why. It's just I prefer to do things alone. Sometimes I'm a lone wolf, and I'm okay with that.
Do you think you're highly emotional?
I think
Yeah,
I
I
can
didn't
be.
think that either.
Have you guys seen me on my period?
I seen
I
you when
don't
you
think you're
hangry.
like super
But-
emotional.
I don't know if highly emotional. Like I feel like I can keep my emotions in check. It just, like I said, if it starts to build up where I can no longer contain it, then it will all come out. Maybe that's what it's talking about.
Okay, so our strengths are tolerant, reliable, charismatic, altruistic,
Yeah.
and natural leaders.
me
So
just-
basically we're team players. People can rely on us. We have a lot of charm and are popular. And we have a desire to do good for communities, and we like to help lead people.
I had to Google what altruistic was. Because
I was just gonna ask, can you explain?
It's the desire to do good and for communities. Be in their home and the global stage. Warm and selfless. Protagonists generally believe that if they can just bring people together, they can do a world of good. I feel that way. I feel like, like better together, like I feel this way, like especially when I'm like cleaning my house, because like obviously we all live here, you know what I'm saying? So like the responsibility should not rely on one person, so like better together. All right, hey, you grab the broom, I'm gonna go do the dishes, like and I'm not here saying like you got to do that and I'm gonna do nothing, you know what I mean? So it's like, right, like I gave my sister like the easier job, right, because I would rather sweep than do dishes. I don't know.
You'd rather
That's just
sweep?
me.
I'll trade with you, girl. I'll do dishes all day.
You
Mm-mm.
love dishes.
I like organizing them in the dishwasher so that you maximize the amount of space that goes in there. People think I'm crazy, but you
No.
know what? It's efficient and it works.
It matters. It matters.
Yeah, I think Alyssa and I, we like are kind of like the same. So it's funny that we got the same one. And I think we're both very tolerant. Like we sometimes disagree on things, but we're very open to each other's opinions. And then we'll like kind of discuss it because we want to hear the other side, but we never get angry, you know? Like it's like, and we also can take like our constructive criticism. So like I agree with that. Okay, weaknesses. We're overly idealistic, too selfless, too sensitive, fluctuating self-esteem, and we struggle to make tough decisions.
I don't think you guys
That
struggle to make
last
tough
one
decisions.
I do.
That last one speaks to Catherine.
Yeah.
This girl, she's like, what? I don't know which one. This one, this one.
I'm very afraid of making the wrong
She'll ask her,
decision.
then she'll be like, oh, but I think maybe this one would be better. I'm like, okay, then go with that one. But what about the other one?
I know.
Okay,
I'm
that's
sorry.
true for your stuff, but I'm like when it comes to like our group things, like what should we do? Like you guys are the first to like, okay, fine, let's just pick one, and then you pick
Because
one.
Alyssa and I don't want to do that. No, you do it. No, you. We're just freaking do it.
Just pick. Damn it, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I would have to agree with like the fluctuating self-esteem. I feel like there are days where like I'm on top of the world, and there are days where I'm like, I am doing not so good. I feel terrible. And now that I'm teaching, I often feel this pressure for my students, right? Like there are days where I feel like the best teacher in the whole world. I feel like, yes, like they're getting it. And then there are other days where I'm like, oh my God, second grade is only like 3 months away.
Yeah.
And I have to get these kids like to where they need to be. And it just like stresses me out because it's like, obviously, like I want them to do well. And so I feel like if they're not doing well, then I'm not doing well. And so like that's where my confidence will like end up fluctuating.
All right. So what is your guys' personality type say about romantic relationships?
So in a protagonist romantic relationship, it says that we feel most at home when we are in a relationship, and few types are more eager to establish that loving commitment with their chosen partners. And for me, I feel like that's so true. Like if I'm going to be in a relationship, I'm not just dating for like 2 weeks or a month. Like if I choose you to date, like I'm foreseeing like a future, I'm foreseeing potential marriage. Like I don't want to waste my time like just dating you if it's not going to work out or fall through, especially if I can identify that within like the first month or two. Then I'm like, okay, yeah, late. But once it's past that, it's pretty much like you're stuck with me, we're married unless something happens. That is like extreme, like for me. I mean, that's just me.
Yeah. It says that we're more have our eyes toward the long haul rather than like the casual approach. And same for me. Like I don't want to just be with someone and then have like a short relationship and move on to the next. I'd rather be with someone I feel like I can see a future with. Even if it's like really early to think about that, but I'm not gonna waste my time.
It also talks about how we rely on conversations about mutual feelings and checking the pulse of the relationship and asking how things are and if there's anything else that we can do or they can do to make sure that the relationship obviously is still smooth sailing. And I think for me, that's super important. Like I like that it says pulse check because obviously it's like something quick, right? Like, how are you doing? Is there anything wrong? And it's like, no, I'm fine, right? But on the other hand, it also says when you're asked like too much, like what's wrong, or what's happening, like that, it's like a trigger. It's like hitting that red button, like that seriously like just pushes my buttons. Like if I tell you I'm fine, like I'm fine. If I want to express how I'm feeling, I will express how I'm feeling. But if I don't and I say I'm fine, like I'm literally fine, like please don't ask me again because you're just gonna make me upset, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It says protagonists don't need much to be happy, just to know that their partner is happy and for their partner to express their happiness through visible affection. And it says that we like to help them get to where they are, like to reach their goals and their dreams. And I think that's really true. And my favorite part is the last line where it says protagonist personality types believe that the only true happiness is mutual happiness, and that's the stuff successful relationships are made of. And I think that's how we both are. Like we love the communication and just making sure that things are balanced.
Yeah, I agree. I think it like 1000% the communication. Like if you're communicating with me and I'm communicating with you, like then I trust you, you know, we're good. I have to trust what you're telling me. Especially like with us, like we don't live with our boyfriends, so it's like, you know, that has to be there.
Ew, you said boyfriend. Sorry.
I know.
It just
Once
hit
I
me.
said it,
Okay.
I had to look at your face, and you're like,
all right.
So for the campaigner personality, it says relationships are a joyous process of mutual exploration and imagination, a chance to connect with another soul. Campaigners take their relationships seriously and are known for their uninhibited and unshakable devotion to the people to whom they've committed their hearts, which is 1000%. I've been with this fool for 8 years, and nothing changes that, unless he decides to break up with me. But anywho, a lot of this is pretty much, it's almost very similar to protagonists. So we're dating for a long time relationship. We're looking for an investment. We're not going around and being like willy-nilly and having these flings. What's interesting though,
willy-nilly, just kidding.
She's a first grade teacher. Willy-nilly.
yeah, what's interesting is that this actually says that our type is actually okay with long distance relationships. And I'm actually not, because I feel like it's just a lot harder. Like, I would personally prefer to see you almost maybe like 2 or 3 times a week, and like within driving distance. Like I would probably say like Sacramento would be too far. Like that's a 2-hour drive. First of all, you should know I don't like driving. Second of all, I don't want you to waste your gas to drive over here. Just saying, okay? But yeah, it says that we're like very dependable on having long-term relationships because we're so devoted. But this is technically not ideal for me because I just don't. I would prefer you within distance. That's all I'm going to say. And then another thing that it's going to say is, it says campaigners go all in with their relationship, and if they fall apart despite their efforts, they can end up getting plagued with questions about why the relationship failed and go into a depression, which I feel like would be accurate if me and Michael ended our relationship, because this is still my first relationship that's lasted this long. So I feel like that's 100% true because I put in a lot of effort, and so does he. So
For INFPs, because we're such like idealist that to the point where things are maybe not realistic, we kind of like have a very high standard. So it's like finding somebody who meets all of our criteria is actually kind of hard. So like people of my personality type tend to feel like they're going to be alone forever, which I think is pretty much true because I didn't really date around a lot because I didn't really want to invest like in anybody. I just didn't see anybody worth investing in. Um so I think that is true. And that is true. Like I did think that I had a lot of ideals and I was kind of like struggling with um like I know that the ideal person doesn't exist, like no perfect person does, but like how much of my list am I willing to like uh compromise?
mhm.
But luckily I don't think I compromised too much. I think I pretty much stayed pretty realistic with it. Um but I think that's kind of why it took us to like really long time to get engaged, was because I had my list, my very extravagant long list, and it just took me some time to like realize that that's not really something you find, but it's more something you build. And it also says in romantic relationships that my personality type tends to avoid conflict, but I don't think that's true at all because I pretty much confront it. I think for the most part, yeah, I've learned to like confront things as they happen or whenever I feel them. So that I kind of disagree with. Hey, let's talk about
Nice.
friendships.
All right, so for campaigners, it says campaigners are cheerful and supportive, always sharing and developing ideas and staying open-minded, taking in others' thoughts and feelings. This warmth and sincerity makes people with the campaigner personality type masters of drawing people out of their shells. And as a result, they tend to have a huge circle of friends. Which I think is pretty right from what I think that I do. Like usually if I see new people, I try to talk to them to kind of like break the ice before they go into like a bigger group, because I know that when new people, like for instance, when we have parties here and someone brings someone new in, I'll like talk to them and be like, hi, my name is this and this. Oh, do you want to have a couple drinks? You know, kind of like ease them in before throwing them into like the huge crowd because it's a lot easier versus just kind of having them stay as like a wallflower or like no one even attempting to, you know, talk to them. So I feel like that's pretty true. Something that they also said in here was that our interests in people could become a double-edged sword because what we think that our friends should be or what we expect them to be, um, we have like high expectations, and if they don't meet our expectations, then we kind of see that as like a fault in our friendship with them and ourselves. And I feel like that one's kind of okay. Like I don't know. I don't feel like I put too much expectations on people because I feel like I said, I'm very independent, so I depend on myself more than I feel like I've done with others. So I feel like this one's not too much. But another point was it says deeply involved in others' lives, going to great lengths and efforts to be the selfless, caring, and supportive people they are, which I have done for a couple of my friends and my family in their like serious situations in which like I felt like they actually needed someone to kind of just give them a slap on the wrist, and if the slap on the wrist didn't help, then a slap in the face to show them like this is really bad, you shouldn't be doing this, and as a friend I'm here to try to support you, but if you're not going to listen to me, bitch, then
Oh my god.
Late. That
You know what's hilarious?
I am trying to be supportive, and I think that what they say is true because since I put so much investment in like people in my friendships, and especially, and it's like I'm trying to show you like my perspective on it, and it's like you don't have to follow it. I just want you to acknowledge it and to like put that into thought because I feel like a lot of times it gets like brushed aside because they're like, oh, you don't understand because you're not in like my place, and I was like, I'm not in your place, but I'm observing it from the outside, and I just want you to take that in to consideration. Yes.
I think that this one is like really accurate for protagonists, or for me at least. It says like we put active effort into maintaining our friendships because we view them as substantial and important and not something to let slip away through laziness or inattention. And also says that we really take genuine pleasure in getting to know people, and we have no trouble talking with people of all types of modes of thought. Oh, it just says like we just like to help our friends like grow into the best people that they can be. And I agree that sometimes if it's not reciprocated, because I said I put like everything into my friendships, our feelings can like get hurt. But I don't know, Lissa, what do you think?
I mean, I like that part too. Like if we weren't like serious in like our romantic relationships, then we're even more serious in our friendships, because those we feel are not breakable compared to a romantic relationship, right? Where you're just dating and like who knows what could happen versus like a genuine friendship, right? Like I've been friends with you guys since middle school. I mean, granted, we had some lost years in the middle of that, but my other two closest friends, I've known them since I was 8 and 12, right? So it's like if I'm putting in this time to be your friend all these years, right, I'm going to push you just as much. I'm going to make sure that the relationship is good. I won't let it slip away, right? Just because, you know, you move away, right, or you live in a different city, I'm not going to let that relationship slip away. I'm still going to reach out. I'm still going to be like, hey, how's it going? And like take that initiative to make sure that like we're good. Not to say that we have to talk every day or whatever, or to say that, you know, I have to talk to you every second, but I will go out of my way if it's been a while and say, hey, how are you? Because I genuinely, you know, appreciate that friendship. Check in on you, and like Catherine said, you know, make sure that they're growing in whatever they want to grow in, and I want to help you do that as well.
But it also says like we're not into like the superficial interest of our friends. Like we're also there because me and Alyssa, we both really like the deeper connections. So I think that's really true. It just says like we try to be really good friends and we're not into the fake stuff, you know?
There's
I don't
always
care about the
purpose.
yeah.
Yeah. There's always purpose behind their friendships, creating bonds that are not easily shaken.
For mediators, we are among the most social of all introverts. That is why I'm a 51% introvert.
Yeah.
I vary on the sliding scale. And they care a lot about even their most casual acquaintances. I think that's true. That said, we are still introverts. That means that we like to spend time with more like a small group where it's like small, but you know each other well. I would rather have like 5 quarters than 1,000 or 100 pennies. I can't do math.
Oh, that's like 125 pennies.
That's right.
125 pennies.
Teacher.
5 quarters. 4 quarters.
Oh, I said 5 quarters. I meant
Who's the
Or she said
accountant?
5 nickels, but
I'm an accountant. Anyway, it's beyond my office hours. In looking for potential friends, mediators may find themselves drawn to people who remind them of themselves. So I like me apparently a lot. But basically, we try to look for people who have more kindred spirits, more like people who share the same values. Like, and it says here that like we prefer friends who have the same values over shared experiences. So we would like rather we connect more with like-minded people where we can like talk and like, just discuss the meaning of life and everything, as opposed to like, oh, I've known this person for like, my entire life and that's what bonds us. It's more like, do we meet at like a mental, spiritual, like
Intellectual.
level?
What does your personality say about you and the career path that you should take, you can take, or you are taking?
So many mediators long for a career that doesn't just take care of the bills, but also feels fulfilling. They want to spend their days doing something they genuinely love, preferably without too much stress or drama. And for these personalities, an ideal professional life should feel like a calling, not just a job. I think that's pretty much true. I stressed out most of my college life thinking like, did I pick the right thing? Like, am I meant to do this? And like, I really do feel like jobs for me should feel like a calling. But the way I landed into my job, it was more like just a series of like random events, and I just like kind of fell into this job because I didn't even want it. Somebody just said, "Hey, come here," and then it just kind of like fell into place. It says, "Fortunately, mediators stand out for their creativity, independence, and sincere desire to connect with and help others, and these traits help them shine and find fulfillment in nearly any line of work," which I find that very like optimistic and hopeful, because if this career doesn't work out, I can easily find another one and just be, you know, as happy there as I would anywhere else.
Protagonists take a genuine interest in other people, approaching them with warm sociability and a helpful earnestness that rarely goes unnoticed. Altruistic careers like social and religious work, teaching, counseling, and advising of all sorts are popular avenues. Protagonists are able to express themselves both creatively and honestly, allowing them to approach positions as sales representatives and advertising consultants from a certain idealistic perspective. And I think it's funny because it says that we need to make sure we get our focus on people, not systems and spreadsheets, because we are unlikely to have the stomach for making the sort of decisions required in corporate governance positions. We will feel haunted knowing that our decisions cost someone their job or that our product costs someone their life. And I think
But even then,
true.
even though we're not in those types of positions to make something that will cost somebody their life or their job, like we still completely feel that way, like in the areas that we're currently working in. Like I had mentioned with my students, and like how you feel about your art, right? You're like you have to like love it. Like I'm gonna work so hard so that you completely love it, right? And so like I feel the same way. And then it also talks about anything that helps a community or to organize and operate it more smoothly. I think that also goes in hand with our personality, because we want to continue to learn and be more independent in that sense, and helping others, right? Being that leader.
Yeah. And it's funny because we're both in like the creative-ish, like teachers have to be creative. And we do things because we want to help people, not because we're trying to make money off our jobs. Clearly, because we're both not making that much.
It also says protagonists will always show an underlying preference for the sort of help that draws a positive long-term trend that affects change that really sticks. So definitely doing something to make a difference. You definitely do that with your donations, and then me trying to change these people's lives, these little kids,
And humans.
tiny
Tiny
humans.
humans.
So for a campaigner's career path, it says we are fascinated by new ideas, both in terms of developments in the fields that you're already familiar with and with new subjects that come along. The trick for people with the campaigner personality type is to take advantage of this quality, this wonder, and use it to propel themselves further and deeper than others are willing or able to go. I don't really know about that because although I would like to be a voice actor and baker and oceanographer if I never had a fear of the deep sea, I just don't have the balls to do this stuff.
That's why you have us
But
to
yeah,
push
we have
you.
vivid minds. We want to go and explore and expand. It's just we just don't have the courage to do such things right now. It says that if there's a challenge campaigners face when selecting a career, it isn't that they lack talent or options or drive. It's just that there are so many things out there that are just cool. Cool things like money that will keep the fort down, I guess. It doesn't really talk too much about the jobs that campaigners take. It just says, you know, like we have a good ability to network and match with communication styles with the audience. So I'm assuming that because communication would be a big thing, it'd be something like sales, which I've done too many years of retail sales to know that I do not like that job. People are mean. I don't want to work for retail anymore because I like my weekends off. One thing that sounds very true is it says that campaigners do not shine in systems of strict regiment and hierarchy like military service. They thrive on their ability to question the status quo and explore their alternatives. And if this is the quality that is just not unappreciated but actually frowned upon, this will not make them unhappy, but it may threaten their emotional stability. And apparently, it says a lot of jobs that require repetition and predictability and boredom are things that will drive us to lose our creativity, which I think is true.
Okay, let's go through our percentages for every letter and then if we agree with it. So for the mind, it says this trait determines how we interact with our environment. I'm 69% extroverted and 31% introverted. I agree.
Damn, you got
That's it.
69. That's a good number.
Yeah, I know.
I got 56% extroverted, and then what is the math? 44% introverted. I feel like I'm like kind of extroverted, but also introverted. Like it just depends on the situation, right? Like what is the social outcome? How am I feeling that day? But for the most part, I guess I'm a little bit more extroverted.
I am 51% introverted and 49% extroverted. I think on the whole, like during the work week, I am introverted. Like I prefer like after a long day, I do prefer to just like be by myself. But on the weekends, I'll hang out with my friends and it's cool. Like it doesn't drain me.
For mine, I am 53% extroverted and 47% introverted, which I feel like is correct because I feel like I'm slowly shifting more from extroverted to introverted since we've been in this like quarantine COVID situation. I just prefer to have more of my own time. And when I hang out with people, I hang out with people, but then I get drained out very easily.
All right, the next one is energy. This trait shows where we direct our mental energy. And for me, I'm 60% intuitive and 40% observant. And I would have to agree with this because I feel like I'm always in my mind trying to find ways to be better and do better.
Me too. I'm 58% intuitive and 42% observant.
Yo, me too. I have exactly that same percentage.
Oh.
Not far off. 55% intuitive, 45% observant.
Look at us.
Nice.
In our feelings.
Speaking of feelings, the next one is nature. And this trait determines how we make decisions and cope with emotions. So do you think, are you a lot more logical and think it through, or do you feel it through? And for me, I'm 50% 57% feelings, and 43% a thinker. I guess I would have to agree because that's my sensitive side that I hate.
I am very shocked by mine because I am 89% feeling and 11% thinking. I don't know what this means. I feel like I'm not very emotional.
How does it make you feel?
I'm confused by this. How, like, what does this mean when I'm 89%
It says right here,
feeling?
It says right here, feeling individuals are sensitive and emotionally expressive. They are more empathetic and less competitive than thinking types. Thinking types focus on social harmony and cooperation. That's the part.
Oh
Social
yeah, I
harmony.
think I'm not super sensitive. I feel like I'm more my feelings because I like empathize too much. Yes. Okay.
I am 65% feeling and 35% thinking, which I was surprised about. I thought I would be more like a higher percentage in feeling. But I think that's pretty good though, because it's like a sliding scale. So if I'm 65%, that is higher, I would say.
And for mine, I am 54% feeling and 46% thinking, which I actually thought I'd be more on thinking than feeling, but I guess my feelings got in the way from thinking things. Next up, we got tactics. This trait reflects our approach to work, planning, and decision making. I'm 56% prospecting and 44% judging.
For judging, it says judging individuals are decisive, thorough, and highly organized. They value clarity, predictability, and closure, preferring structure and planning to spontaneity.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely prospecting.
I'm 60% judging, 40% prospecting.
I'm 76% judging and 24% prospecting.
But you need
She's
that
a
for your
teacher. She
career.
needs
as a
it.
teacher,
Yeah.
you gotta organize.
No, but like even like I'm that person on vacation where it's like, okay, like what are we doing? What time do we get up? What time is that? What time is dinner? Like
that's
cannot
fine.
do spontaneity on vacation. It's like slight, like
Well, you get the most out of your vacation like that, you know?
Yeah.
and that's my
You're
idea.
optimizing.
Like Disneyland, like I don't sleep. Like Armando wants to sleep on vacation. I'm like, we're on vacation. We're not sleeping.
I know. I hate when people sleep till like 12 on vacations because I'm like, why'd we go on vacation?
Thank
you can
you.
sleep at home.
Thank you.
I'm sorry that I'm tired.
You sleep till 12 though on vacations?
No, I sleep till like 10 at least.
Eee, I'm up at 6.
I
Like,
have
how
a
do I
plan
make the
for
most
you.
of my time?
I have a plan for your vacation. You guys gonna plan out everything you want to do, but you have to plan out some time for Tiffany to figure out what she wants to do.
Okay,
No,
so,
I
like,
like
that's fair.
spontaneity, but like don't sleep until 12 or something because then we could have had breakfast at a new restaurant in another city.
For me,
Like,
it's like I
just
have
say,
to go with
are
like
we going to bed early or are we going to bed really late? Because if
No,
we
you
go
don't
to bed
sleep
late,
at all. You have fun,
Oh my
spontaneous fun at night.
If
this
you
is
plan
not
it for
Sin City.
Tiffany,
We are not staying up all night.
I have a theory. If you plan it for Tiffany, she will, if you just go to her like in the morning, like you want to go to a spontaneous breakfast, like, hey, what do you think about, eating breakfast? And she'll go, oh, breakfast sounds good. Yeah, let's roll with it. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like if we give her like too much of a schedule, she'll feel like,
Yeah.
But
Well,
if
like
you're like,
I don't
hey,
know.
let's go
Okay, yeah,
with
my
it.
schedule's not like Alyssa's intense, but it's like get up at 6 or 7 or 8. 9.
6? Okay, my schedule is not that intense. When I say schedule, I mean like I need to know like, okay, in the morning, are we gonna grab breakfast or are we just gonna grab Starbucks and then eat
Oh.
like a lunch later? You know what I mean? Or like, okay, so now what are we gonna do in the afternoon? What are we gonna do in the evening? Like it doesn't have to be like exact time, 4 o'clock. We're doing
Oh
this.
no, I'm just
At
like, let's wake up.
3:01, you better shower. Like,
No, I'm like, wake up and then we'll figure it out. Just don't sleep. I hate sleepers.
It's because you don't sleep.
I know.
She's always the last to go to sleep and the first to wake up.
like this, like ready to go. Like, okay,
She's
Yeah.
like always
Like,
awake. I'm like,
what are we
how
doing?
you awake? Go to sleep.
Like normal people wake up like slow, and she goes, okay. Which is good because it helps gets us going, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Otherwise we're gonna lounge around going, I don't know.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Okay, anyway.
Alrighty, and then the last one is identities. So this trait underpins all others, showing how confident we are in our abilities and decisions. So I am 71% assertive and 29% turbulent. I would say I'm very assertive. I like to make decisions. What are we doing? What's happening? It like makes me less stressed. Like, come on, just like let me know. Like, why why don't we know?
Listen, you're not gonna like mine. I'm 76% turbulent and 24% assertive.
Same, exact same.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Like,
you know
I
what?
don't mind if you guys plan stuff, like I can go along with it. But then once I get like overwhelmed with too many things, it starts to stress me out. So I'm like,
Yeah.
You know, in college, I was 95% turbulent. Now I'm 76.
What?
Yeah.
look at that upgrade.
Well,
I
that's
just
Just
because
like to be in the middle. That's ideal for me.
Well, yeah, that's why I said it's upgrade from 96 to 76.
Yeah.
Upgrade.
I'm 40% assertive, 60% turbulent.
looks like I'm the only crazy one here.
That's the end of today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed learning about our 16 personalities, but take the test for yourself and see if it holds true to your values, your personality, your love of interests, all that good jazz.
Like
Stay-
it. Stay bitchin'.